Shabbat shalom, everybody. This is Rob Shmuel with this week's Parsha, azinu. And with this Parsha, we actually close out all of our Torah readings for the year. Actually, it's not really for the year because, as you noticed, we've started 5786 as of now. So it's Rosh Hashanah. Here's my white yarmulke that my wife fixed up a little bit. It was the yarmulke I got married in, and it's very personal to me. And it's white, so we save it. I save it for the high holidays. So good stuff. And thank you to everybody that came out for Rosh Hashanah services, people that were there, people that participated. And as I think I've mentioned in our synagogue, I'm very proud and very pleased to announce and relate that all five of our Torahs are now sound. They're all kosher. The letters are readable. The words are appropriate. Hopefully, I won't find any more errors. You know, somebody told me that their grandfather at another temple years ago found an error in a Torah, and he was given an honorary doctorate. So I'm still waiting for my honorary doctorate from American Jewish University or whatever. Okay. So, anyway, yeah, it's 5786, and here we are at the new holidays, and things look like they're going well. And I always love the high holidays. To me, it's a really nice time. I even like Yom Kippur. In fact, that's my favorite holiday. I just like immersing myself in Judaism and the prayers. I really enjoy getting up there on the bema myself and doing the high holiday nusach. Nusach is what you do for that time. And in this case, it means the melodies. And the melodies are a little different. When we're doing the Amidah, that means standing, and that refers to that series of prayers that we do, usually before a Torah service, when there is a Torah service. The Talmud calls it simply the tefillah, the prayer. And it's meant to take the place of the offerings that they did. So the first three blessings are our patriarchs and matriarchs. God's might, which is to resuscitate the dead. And then it's God's name, which, when doing a repetition, is a little bit longer, and it talks about a mystical vision of God's holiness. The last three blessings are restoration of temple service. And a lot of times we'll include a paragraph if it's the intermediate days of Sukkot or Passover, and also if it happens to be Rosh Chodesh, the new month. Then there's Modim Anach Milach, which is thanking God for the miracles every day. It's the fourth bow. And it also includes verbiage on Hanukkah and Purim when that's appropriate. And the final blessing is peace. So when it's Shabbat, in the middle, we have a couple of paragraphs, 3 or 4 paragraphs of Shabbat. If it's a festival or a holiday, it's that. If it's during the week, there's 13 blessings that we do. And they're supplications. They're things that we want. So we want knowledge. We want redemption. We want healing. We want redemption. We want to be forgiven. We want good health, so that we want a good year, and a host of other things, like we want restoration of justice, the Davidic reign, prayers for our sages, et cetera, et cetera. So there's 13 supplications. So during Shabbat, the melody is Baruch Atah Adonai. Now, all Jewish prayers start that way. Baruch Atah Adonai, blessed are you. The longer ones, Eloheinu v'Elokei Avotenu, our God and God of our ancestors. And if we have specific prayers, who commands us, Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, who has commanded us with these commandments to perform the commandments. So that's the Shabbat nusach or melody. During the high holidays, it's a little bit more minor key, a little bit more soulful. Baruch atah Hashem Eloheinu v'Elokei Avotenu. See, to get into that spirit of the idea that we're looking for redemption. So there it is. So it's kind of nice. I kind of like doing that. It's a nice change, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Ha azinu. Let's give ear. This is a song. So it's basically a poem, and it's arranged in two columns. And we've talked in previous years that the two columns is because Moses is warning the people, I know you, I know you're a stiff-necked bunch, I know you're going to forsake the commandments and Torah, you're going to revert to idolatry, you're going to find those attractive, and God is going to say, okay, if you're going to forsake me, I'm going to forsake you. And a lot of bad things will happen until we finally figure out or get the message. Of course, we know already, but until we say, working with God is better than working without God. So let's return. Let's teshuvah. That's what these holidays are about. Returning to our proper observance of commandments. We've sinned because we've forsaken them, and let's return to them. I'm sorry, I'm moving my arm a lot. Is that freaking people out? I get emotional with these things. So in Ha azinu, and the columns are because since, Israel is not really paying attention, they're very vulnerable, and it's like two columns. They don't have the stability that we saw in like the Song at the Sea when it was brick by brick. So that's the actual writing, the actual appearance of the Parsha reflects that. So you might be thinking, and rightly so, okay, well, here we go again. Is this ever going to end? Is Deuteronomy, or most of Deuteronomy, nothing except you're going to mess up, you're going to pay for it, and then ultimately, when you figure out that it's better being with God than not being with God, you're going to come back. Okay, how many times does Moses have to say this, right? You've heard this before, many times. So why does Moses do this whole song? That's a real good question, and I don't know that I know the answer. It's like, okay, you told us once. Okay, you told us twice. Okay, you told us the third time, and we had that tochacha, that warning, that admonition that really laid out some pretty dire consequences if you're reading. And when I was reading that a couple of weeks ago, we read it in a soft voice, lest God think, oh, I hear your plea. Okay, let's do that. No, no, no. We were just, so you say it real softly because you have to say it to acknowledge it, but you don't want to say it like you want it. And that's the difference. So we've done that. We've seen how Israel is going to behave. And here we are again at the tail end of the Torah with Moses saying, I've got to go. I messed up and I don't get to go to the promised land. Don't you do this. And maybe that's what it's really all about. The fact that if somebody of Moses' stature, somebody as great as him, a great prophet that talked to God the same way I'm talking to you and you talk to me, if he can mess up and mess up bad, so he and Aaron, who was the greatest of the Kohen Gadol, of the high priest ever, then the rest of us really need to watch what we're doing. Because, if they're vulnerable and they were so great, where does that leave us, right? So maybe that's the message. Give ear, Israel, ha azinu. Give ear. Look what I did. And look how great I was. And look what I had going for me. Look what Aaron had going for me. Look what Miriam, a prophetess, almost the first. And here she is getting tsaros all over her body, the white blotches, because she demeaned Moses in front of everybody. Wow, if she could sin, then, the rest of us are just kind of like, wow. So, yeah. And it's probably no accident, no coincidence, and there are no coincidences in Torah and in Judaism. Yeah, there's no coincidences. We don't believe in luck. You say to somebody, good luck, mazel tov. There's no such thing in luck as Judaism. It's all God's plan, all of it. Everything that happens is part of a big, big design. So, does that mean our lives are sealed? And that means you have no free will? Well, yeah, you do. You're given a set of circumstances, and it's up to you to navigate them. And that's what giving ear is probably all about. This is what awaits you if you forsake the commandments. This is what happened to me because I wasn't diligent enough. So, and I'm the one that received the commandments in the first place. So the rest of us really have to give ear to what can happen if we forsake the commandments. We have to walk into these high holidays And even for those of you that are not Jewish, that are listening to this, yeah, you don't have to do the whole 613 commandments. You've only got, the seven Noahide, and then, of course, the laws of the land. But folks, life has consequences. And it's very important that you give ear to what those consequences are. Maybe this will be my Yom Kippur sermon. What do you think? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom. Good Yantif. May all be sealed and inscribed and sealed in the book of life. Thank you for listening. I wish you a very happy new year, everybody. Please live life to its fullest. Do the best you can. Avoid temptation. Thank you.